Hello, world and universe. Welcome to the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth. And if you're new to the channel, please hit that like and subscribe button. And for all my continued followers, I want to say thank you. And this is an opinion-based video channel where I try to open your eyes and your ears to some of the travails and trepidations that we go throughout our cities, our states, our country, and sometimes around the world. And this is a very disturbing case where a 19-year-old young lady went out on a first date with a gentleman, and she ended up getting murdered and dismembered right out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And it touches my heart because it's unfortunate for her family. Send prayers out, but also I have two beautiful daughters. One's in her mid-20s and one is in her late 20s. Dating today is very, very tough. 19-year-old found dead after first date. Suspect due in court. What to know about Sade Robinson's case. The man suspected in the killing of Sade Robinson is set to appear again in court after officials say he went on a date with the Wisconsin teen the day before her remains were found. Maxwell Anderson, 33, was arrested on April 4th at a traffic stop and charged with the murder and death of Miss Robinson, 19, after police received a report of a severed leg located near a golf course in Milwaukee County, Wisconsin. The leg was discovered April 2nd, the day after Anderson met with Miss Robinson. Robinson was reported missing on April 2nd, when the teenager who had a date with Anderson the night before at a Milwaukee seafood restaurant he used to work at didn't show up for her shift at a pizza restaurant. Her co-workers suspected something was wrong. Now the man she went on a date with is charged with the following: first-degree intentional homicide, mutilating of a corpse, and arson of property other than a building. So, Milwaukee man Maxwell Anderson gets charged after human remains were found. So what happened in Miss Robinson's death? Anderson, 33, and Robinson's 19, went on a first date in Milwaukee on April 1st, which was Easter Sunday, which was the day after Easter Sunday, according to prosecutors. He took her to a seafood restaurant after she texted him that she felt like eating seafood. Reports 6 ABC, citing a criminal complaint. After a night out, Robinson went back to Anderson's home, prosecutors said. The next day, authorities found a severed human leg at Warner Mount Park in Kabahai, which has now been identified as belonging to Miss Robinson, according to prosecutors. The case received extensive publicity as additional human remains were found in Milwaukee in the days since. So, how about Anderson's court date? Mr. Anderson is scheduled to return to court for his preliminary hearing on April 22nd at 1:30 p.m. at the Milwaukee County Courthouse Criminal Justice Facility, where Assistant District Attorney Ian Vance Curzon will be expected to provide probable cause that Anderson committed a felony. Anderson's defense attorney, Anthony Cotton, will be able to cross-examine witnesses the state provides. Milwaukee County Circuit Court Judge Jean Keyes will decide if there's probable cause. If she believes there is, then Anderson will stand trial in this case, and it will move forward to an arraignment hearing where Anderson would plead guilty or innocent. So how did the prosecutors build a case against Mr. Anderson? The prosecutors used surveillance footage, witness statements, and phone tracking records to build a case against Mr. Anderson. Officials with the Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office and Milwaukee Police Department said last week that the investigation and the search for more body parts is ongoing. A week after his arrest, Mr. Anderson was charged with first-degree intentional homicide, which carries a life sentence, mutilating of a corpse, and arson. So who is Sade Robinson? In May, Miss Robinson would have turned 20 and graduated from Milwaukee Area Technical College with an associate degree in criminal justice. Her mother, Sheena Scarborough, told the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel. Her mother said Sade dreamed of joining the U.S. Air Force and that she loved to take solo trips. This year she went to Jamaica, but traveled to New Orleans, Atlanta, and other places as well. But for the time being, she was a favorite among co-workers and customers at the local pizza place where she worked, said her manager. Her manager, Justin Romano, told local media outlet 6 ABC News she was very outgoing. She would talk to everybody here. She was always there to lighten up the mood. This is what Sade's mother had to say. She said, "I didn't know that was going to be the last day I saw my baby." Miss Scarborough spent the Easter evening with her daughter and the rest of the family. That was the last day she saw her in person. The next day, Robinson video called her mother to talk about the rest of her night and how she planned to style her hair. "She looked as beautiful, glowing as she always is," said Miss Scarborough. Scarborough said her daughter was still figuring things out, but was always willing to help others. Her whole life was ahead of her. She was so amazing, so beautiful, such a beautiful angel. Everywhere she went, people just admired my baby, said Sade's mother, Miss Scarborough. What an incredible, terrible story. This 19-year-old, first of all, Maxwell Anderson is 33. And why he is trying to date a 19-year-old is beyond me, even though they are both of legal age. And after the first date, what in the world could have gone wrong to where he has been allegedly accused of not only murdering her, but also of dismembering her body and placing different body parts all throughout the area of Milwaukee. And they still haven't found her complete corpse. And they're still looking for other body parts. I tell you all the time, and I know if you all follow my videos, mental illness is at the top of the fragmented paradigm that is destroying our country. This gentleman has to definitely be at the top of the heap for mental illness. And if these allegations are true, he is a diabolical murderer. What could she have done in one date? And she ended up back at his house, and then he decides to commit this crime. It almost makes me feel like this might not be the first time he's done this. He almost sounds like some kind of demonic serial killer. So it'd be interesting to see if the authorities in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, find out that there's any other alleged victims of sexual misconduct. I just cannot believe that he's been on this earth for 33 years and this is the first time that he committed such a heinous crime, all the way to the point of committing murder and then decimating and chopping up her body after she was deceased. This was a 19-year-old beautiful woman. This story touched my heart because I have two beautiful daughters. I think this is the toughest time in the world in my 56 years of living, where dating is almost an impossibility. There are so many distractions and travails that are taking place in today's time, not only through social media and technology, but there's tons of chaos and disruption throughout our cities and our communities, way too much gun violence. The opioid crisis is ridiculous. Very few people are planning to have, very few young people want to have a sustainable career. They're choosing to chase the bag by any means necessary. Not all folks, but we're seeing a high plethora of individuals that are trying to curtail the long road to life and would much prefer to take chances and take shortcuts and ending up in the short portion of life that ends up in death, destruction, and incarceration. The other caveat about this situation is that Sade was a black female, 19 years old, and Maxwell Anderson, Mr. Anderson, is a white male. It's going to be interesting to see how the courts deal with this, because I can tell you what, if this was a black male at 33 and he had murdered and killed and murdered a a 19-year-old beautiful white girl, the courts will not have any mercy on them.